Have you ever hit a moment in your life where you look around at everything and you have, and just like your wife, your kids, your home, your job, and you know you're supposed to feel grateful, but you don't feel much of anything at all? You're not mad. You're not depressed. You're not falling apart. You're just numb. Well, if that's you, stick with me because what you're feeling isn't failure. It's not a moral flaw. It's not even ingratitude. It's something entirely different. And today we're going to fix it. By the end of this episode, you're going to understand why you feel emotionally disconnected, even when you have a life you're thankful for. You're going to learn the science behind it, the scripture that speaks to it, and a simple process that can help you reconnect with your own heart before Thanksgiving hits this week. You're going to walk into your home this week present, not empty. Let's get into it. Now, I want to start with a truth that most men never hear. You're not ungrateful. Your brain is overloaded. Chronic stress raises cortisol, and cortisol literally dulls your dopamine receptors. Couple that with, the dopamine overstimulation that actually destroys those as well. And when that happens, that part of your brain that normally lights up when you think of blessings, things you're grateful for, that goes quiet because you've just dulled that out. Your nervous system goes into protection mode instead of connection mode. In other words, your brain is just too busy surviving to let you feel thankful. Scriptural and scripture actually names this. Proverbs tells us hope deferred makes the heart sick. You ever feel that? Not broken, not hopeless, just tired. Well, Marcus Aurelius said the soul becomes dyed with the color of his thoughts. When your thoughts are all carrying survival mode, when everything is just, I just got to endure, well, it dyes everything gray. Here's the point, guys. Gratitude isn't gone, it's just kind of buried. You're not ungrateful. Your brain has just been in survival mode far too long to feel anything else. But one of the most important things to get you out of survival mode is actually to get enough rest because everything is more difficult and less effective when you're tired. And if you're trying to get better sleep, reset your nervous system, and actually feel rested walking into the holidays, then you already know I'm going to point you towards our friends over at My Pillow. Right now, our friends My Pillow and Mike Lindell have the holiday specials just rolling out, guys. If you follow me on social media, no doubt you're seeing the Black Friday notifications. My slippers, my towels, pillows, blankets, everything in My Pillow is on massive discount for the Black Friday sales that are already going on. So go to mypillow.com, use promo code THRIVE, or call 1-800-794-5834. You'll get the very best deals they've got, and you support this show in the process and help us stay on the air. We're going to roll into our intro and then right back into this important conversation today. The Driven to Thrive broadcast, purpose, growth, and lasting impact for men. Helping men go from living to thriving, purpose-filled, intentional lives. Welcome to the Driven to Thrive broadcast, where men learn to lead themselves, their families, and their world with purpose, growth, and lasting impact. I'm your host, Brent Dallin. Let's get right back into it. We already discussed one issue that is interfering with you experiencing gratitude and feeling numb. The other culprit stealing from you is just as nasty, and that I'm talking about is bandwidth. You see, your brain has limited emotional battery every day. Work stress drains it. Money stress definitely drains it. Marriage tension drains it. Parenting drains it. Your own internal dialogue drains it. In the world of people with physical disabilities or uh, other stresses that you can't see, It's called spoons. You have so many spoons through the day. You start your day with, say, 50 spoons, and everything you do takes something. Well, guys, that's most often referred to for, like I said, with people in communities where you have like permanent injuries or disabilities that are not readily visible, is used in the autism community. But the truth is, it's just an easy example to explain what I'm talking about. Everything you do throughout your day takes bandwidth. That's why on this channel we've talked about putting your most important task earlier in the day when you have more bandwidth for it, right? We've talked about managing your energy as opposed to your time, because honestly, it's like holding a gallon jug and poking a hole in the bottom of it. Once it's out, it's out. It doesn't matter. That's how everybody is. Everybody has a limit for the day. Your own internal dialogue even drains this limit for you. And oftentimes, by the time we get home, well, the battery's just dead. You're just fried. You're not feeling 100%. You're not even feeling 10% a lot of times. Let's face it. The world takes a lot out of you. So you're not feeling gratitude because you're empty. You're not feeling gratitude because you have no remaining capacity to feel much of anything. Science calls this emotional blunting. Jesus called it weary and heavy burden. He didn't shame it, he invited it. Epictetus said, it's not events that disturb men, but their interpretation of events. Your brain is trying to interpret too many things at once. And the result, well, that's numbness. So before you judge yourself this week, run a bandwidth check in. Mind load, what's consuming your thought? What is consuming your mental spoons, your mental energy? Physically, what stress is sitting in your body today? Unless you've spent much time with a chiropractor and a good one at that, you probably haven't heard the concept that actually a lot of people physically carry their stress in their muscles. That's actually a physical fact. Women carry it in slightly different areas than men do because, hey, we're all different, right? But you actually carry a physical manifestation of that stress in your body besides the physical stress and load you put on your system every day. What about your soul load? What hope has been deferred? What heart matter has been put off or crushed? These are all things that are crushing your bandwidth every day. And it's really easy if you aren't really, really good at managing your energy to just be done by the time you get home. Our day takes so much out of us a lot of times that we don't have anything left towards the end of the day. You're not empty, you're overloaded, and overloaded hearts can't feel full, which is a requirement for gratitude. There are a lot of men, and I've definitely been one of them many times myself, and it's myself, that's good English. I've definitely been one many times myself and still struggle with this, who have been lodged in survival mode and overloaded with far too much for far too long because we've been sold the pack of lies. Does this sound familiar? Busy equals success. You may not have actually heard that said, but it's implied in everything you look at. Busy people are successful people. Or that money is everything. Well, money has its place and it can help you with a lot of things, but it's not everything. Maybe you've heard a lot. If you just work hard enough, long enough, you'll be successful no matter what. It's just putting in enough time and effort. Guys, I know a lot of hard workers who are just burning themselves out. You have to ground yourself in reality, not the lies that were sold frequently by social media and by advertising. You've ground yourself into the dirt for so long, trying so hard, doing so much, carrying such a load that the only way to sustain is to become numb. And that's where you're at. Like I said, been there, done that. A lot of us struggle with this. So, step number one is to recognize all the lies. Money is great, it's not everything. Busy does not equal success. Working super hard and grinding away won't guarantee success. There's a lot of lies that you're fed every day that you have to stop and question. So, first, start recognizing all those lies that are actually stealing your gratitude because they're grinding you into the ground. Step two, though, gratitude can be trained like any other muscle. So, here's the playbook. Put the thanks back in your life as we head towards Thanksgiving. Ready? Most Christian men misunderstand this concept. The Bible never actually commands us to feel, that's air quotes, feel thankful. It's not actually what it says. It commands us to give thanks. You see, feeling follows practice. Neuroscientists call this top down regulation, the idea that behavior can trigger emotion. When you speak gratitude out loud, even if you don't feel it, the prefrontal cortex lights up and starts calming the amygdala. That darn amygdala, we talked about it a lot. That's your fear center. That's that stress center. That's that, oh my God, I just got to survive because everything's horrible. Yeah, that's that one. You're literally switching gratitude circuits back on. Scripture says, give thanks in all circumstances, not because every circumstance feels good, but because the practice of gratitude restores the heart. Seneca said, the cure lies in changing our attitude. Gratitude begins as a discipline long before it becomes a feeling. So here's the go to move. Every morning this week, just speak one sentence of gratitude out loud. It doesn't have to be anything profound. You don't have to like shake the foundations of war. It just has to be true. Pick one thing, one sentence of gratitude. It just has to be true, and that will start you on the healthy path. Biblical gratitude isn't a feeling you wait for, it's a practice that awakens the feeling you lost. So, step one of regaining your thankfulness is approaching gratitude as a discipline, not a feeling. It's something you do because you should, because it's good for you, because it's necessary, not because you feel grateful. Step two is about teaching your brain to seek gratitude. You see, your brain has this built-in bias to look for threats. It's called the negative attentional drift. It helps keep you alive. But if you let it run wild, it will only track what's wrong, which completely hijacks your gratitude and heads you back into survival mode. See, it's a good thing. It keeps you alive, but it's that fear center, guys. We need to do something else with our brain because if we don't, that's just what it's going to run on. The Stoics understood this idea that neuroscience is now confirming you can train your mind to see what is good. The Stoics figured it out years and years ago, but neuroscience is now going, hey, they were right. Imagine that. Philippians 4:8 tells us to think about what is true, noble, right, and praiseworthy. Even if you're not a Bible guy, that's reframing. That's what that is. Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. He wasn't spouting poetry. That's cognitive rewiring. So we're going to use something our brains already naturally do to get us away from this negative attentional drift and get us back on track. We're going to use something called the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon, something your brain is already familiar with. If you haven't heard it called that before, it's also referred to as the frequency illusion or frequency bias. And it's that thing that happens when you have something you recently bought. Like when you buy a new car, as an easy example, you buy a new car and all of a sudden you realize that everybody and their dog drives the same car you just bought. Well, I mean, it's everywhere, but guess what? There aren't more than there were yesterday. You're just more aware of it because of your present purchase. The effect is driven by two psychological processes: selective attention, where your brain subconsciously starts to notice the car more often because it now holds personal significance, and confirmation bias, which you interpret each sighting as proof that the car is suddenly more common. That's what's happening. We have all done it, we've all experienced it. Well, the good news is you can do it with gratitude as well. It's something I actually used to use with my kids before bed, and I actually need to get back in the habit of doing. But the tool I use is very simple. Three gratitudes. That was two. Three gratitudes. I shouldn't use fingers. Each day before my kids went to bed, I would ask them to name three things they were grateful for. So each day, at the end of your day, name three tiny wins, three things you're grateful for and appreciate, not big ones, tiny ones, little wins. This person did something nice for me. So and so said I looked good. My boss told me I did a good job. Three tiny wins to be grateful for. The RAS, which is the reticular activating system in your brain, starts searching for positive things to be grateful for instead of threats, right? We're using the frequency bias to reprogram and get out of that I'm afraid mindset that's keeping us alive. And what happens is the heart slowly wakes back up. Your brain becomes what you repeatedly focus on. So train it to see the good, and gratitude returns. Now, we got into step one of regaining your thankfulness with approaching gratitude as discipline, not a feeling. And in step two, right, your brain is now actively looking for things to be grateful for. We're training it to seek that. Well, step three is about turning the switch back on in your brain because stress will actually turn off your brain's ability to process gratitude if you're not careful. So, this is where we move from mindset to mechanism. Gratitude is not abstract. There's actually a biological basis for it. There's a circuit in your brain, in your prefrontal cortex, to the anterior cingulate to the limbic system. I had to write that all down, guys, so I didn't screw that one up. The lights up, this lights up every time you experience gratitude. That's what happens. This is why I take notes about the neurological stuff I talk about. So it's actually a circuit. This exists. This is in your biology. Stress can shut it off. But the good news is you can actually turn it back on. Psalms 51 says, "Restore to me the joy of your salvation." Even David prayed for his heart to wake back up. The Stoics believed that gratitude was about alignment with order, meaning, and purpose. So here's a 3-minute gratitude activation that you can use every single day this week to start to reawaken that heart and to actually trigger that circuit back on that your stress has been shutting off. Slow your breathing for 30 seconds. I prefer box breathing, but you can just slow down and take deep breaths if you want. But slow down your breathing for 30 seconds. Visualize someone you deeply appreciate for 1 minute. See them in your mind and your heart. I mean, really focus on these people that just light you up. And then speak one sentence of gratitude out loud for 1 minute. This is not at the same time. This is one after the other. So slow breathing, visualize, and then one sense of gratitude. It can be something that like people call a mantra, right? Whereas you say the same thing over again. But it can be something as simple as I'm so deeply grateful that my wife, air quotes, or my child, or my friend Bob, whoever you need to do, right? Whatever you're grateful for, whoever your person is. I'm so deeply grateful that my wife is in my life and they make my life so much more incredible. I'm so blessed. Verbally say it out loud to yourself over and over and over again for a minute. It can be something totally different, but you get the point, right? Tracking with me? That's it. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, and you're rewiring this circuit in your brain. The stress is often turning off in your head. Rewire that, strengthen that, build that neural connection. In 3 minutes a day, you are rewiring your brain towards gratitude as opposed to fear. Gratitude is not something you wait to feel, it's something you consciously switch on. One of the things I'm grateful for this season is our community over at Patreon. If you want more tools like this one, deeper, raw, behind the scenes kind of conversations from all of our shows, private Q&A, and our exclusive podcast, Behind Closed Mics, the messy, honest truth of growing as a man and a creator, join me over at Patreon. It directly supports our mission. It helps me reach and equip more men who are trying to live on purpose. So head over to patreon.com/thefallibleman. We'd love to have you in the brotherhood. And it's a great community over there with lots of goodies, including our exclusive podcast that nobody else gets. Now, step one of regaining your thankfulness is approaching gratitude as a discipline, not a feeling. Yes, I'm purposely repeating these over and over again. Step two is about teaching your brain to actually look for things to be grateful for. Step three is about switching the gratitude circuit back on so your brain can actually experience gratitude. And step four is about actively bringing it into your world. So let's bring it home because that's where we really want it to reside, anyways, right? Gratitude isn't something that changes your internal world alone, it changes your relationships. And your relationships are critical to your entire well being. It's one of the big areas I focus on because if your relationships are right, the rest of the world can be on fire, and most time you're okay. Neuroscience tells us that expressing gratitude releases oxytocin, the bonding chemical. It lowers defensiveness, it increases trust, it strengthens connections. One sentence of gratitude to your wife can shift the entire emotional climate of your home. One sentence of gratitude to your kids can shape their identity for the rest of their life. Proverbs tells us life and death are in the power of the tongue. Your words create the emotional atmosphere your family lives in, and you really want that to be an atmosphere of gratitude. Musonius Rufus said, virtue isn't real until it benefits others. Gratitude isn't complete until it's spoken. It has to be practiced with other people to take root and really live in your life. So here's your Thanksgiving blessing script. Tell your wife, I'm grateful for the strength you bring to our family. Tell each kid, I'm proud of who you're becoming every single day. Tell your friends, I am so grateful for the encouragement and blessing you are to my life every day. And before you walk through the door this Thanksgiving, Lord, help me bring presence, not pressure. Gratitude spoken becomes connection felt. And it's how a man brings peace to his home. Now, guys, as we wind this down, understand you're not broken. You're not spiritually defective. You're not emotionally weak. You've just been carrying too much for too long with too few places to set it down. Your heart isn't numb, it's just exhausted. And gratitude, real gratitude, practiced gratitude, has the power to bring your heart back online. This week, don't just think thankful. Don't just post thankful because we all do that on the holidays, right? Speak it, practice it, live it. Your family doesn't need a perfect man at the table this Thanksgiving. They just need a present one. If this episode resonated with you, get on the mailing list over at purposedrivenmen.com. You'll get bi-weekly tools, frameworks, and content designed to help you become the man God created you to be, on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. I'll see you next time, and until then, live with purpose, lead with courage, and be better tomorrow because of what you do today. And we'll see you on the next one. The Driven to Thrive broadcast, purpose, growth, and lasting impact for men. Helping men go from living to thriving, purpose-filled, intentional lives. Affiliate disclaimer. MyPillow, like any other source, cycles promos. Because of the extended life cycle of a podcast, the immediate promotion that you heard mentioned in this episode may no longer be in effect when you hear it because you could be hearing this 5 years from when I recorded it. However, as long as MyPillow is a sponsor of the Driven to Thrive broadcast, our show, our promo code THRIVE is always good for up to 80% off your order and free shipping on orders over $75. No matter what you hear in this episode, as far as the current promo, Thrive is always good as long as MyPillow is a sponsor of the show for up to 80% off your order and free shipping over $75.